A risk taker who has pushed boundaries not once but several times. Mutual funds, a conniser, when it comes to artwork, skydiving in Prague. So much I believe, Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency. We are here with Karan Virwani. Karan, great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Sameera.
Tell us about yourself. You're here at WeWork 24/7, is that so?
Almost. If I'm not, I'm probably traveling somewhere. No, but about me, we got on this journey about almost 3 years ago with WeWork, and really just started operating about 8 months ago. And prior to that, my family business is in real estate with the Embassy Group, so I spent a lot of time understanding how the real estate market in India works and just learning the ropes a bit. And I trained under my father. Prior to that actually is when I started my entrepreneurial journey, when I just graduated from university and set up
I believe so, at the age of 23?
The first companies I was at the age of 20. And so it's been really fun, and what I'm doing right now I thoroughly enjoy, and the impact I think that we're making with WeWork in India and with the brand and with the community is something that's extremely rewarding. And so that 24/7 sort of like work mode doesn't really bother me that much, because I actually love what I'm doing every day. And so early mornings or late nights, they don't really matter.
So I want to focus on you, Karan.
Yeah.
So, a young lad, ready to take over the world. You have your dad's business empire.
Yeah.
Why WeWork?
So I look, since I was growing up, I've always grown up in a very entrepreneurial sort of family, and it's always been something that I think has been inside me or it's something that always interested me to either do anything business related or whatever it is, whether it was smaller things when I was growing up, like throwing parties and making some money off that, or then the restaurant, and now this. So there's always been that bug in me, and WeWork is something that it kind of evolved into this, but it really started off with a much smaller idea to really do something in the real estate space, but a bit different from traditional sort of real estate that the family business does. And I was very interested in smaller companies and startups, and the whole ecosystem was bubbling at that time in 2013, 2014, and you could see the rise of all these small companies and the ways of working and stuff like that. So it started off with an idea to do our own co-working space, and then that really evolved into us partnering with WeWork, and then forming this company WeWork India, which was a huge step, and it's a huge undertaking as well. And at the time we weren't sure of how the market would react and things like that, but everything was at perfect timing, I would say. The timing we started this, the timing of where India was and how it was moving and progressing and things like that. So if you look at India, it's such a young country. We have so many startups, so many, just a very entrepreneurial and very communal sort of, people as it is. India is a communal space right from the start, and whether it's with religion or building societies or your neighborhood or whatever it is, India and Indians are very communal. So this was something when we saw the concept of WeWork in New York, and we was super sold, and what Adam and Miguel have created 8 years ago would take over India, and that's what we're trying to do.
Karan, I heard and I believe you had a year-long of negotiations with WeWork.
Yeah.
Your father had advised you to go ahead on your own rather than partner with WeWork.
Yeah.
So, being a risk taker that you are, what still made you venture out into WeWork and collaborate with them rather than, handling your business empire on your own, which embassy does, and is known for.
Right. So we did contemplate, obviously, doing this on our own, and the more time that I spent actually at WeWork or with Adam and understood what they were trying to do and the differences, like there's so many people who have tried to copy the concept, and there's so many players now in all markets around the world. Like in China we have competitors, in India we have competitors, in Europe, in America we have probably the most competitors over there. But it was the way in which WeWork was scaling, the design of the actual spaces, and everything that they had really invested into the technology of the space and the member experience, and something that really defined or differentiated WeWork was the way and the energy that when I walked into the space, the feeling that we felt. And I just felt that, like for us to try to replicate something like this, there's a DNA in this brand that would never, it's never going to be able to replicate. And it would be better for the Indian ecosystem if we could get a quality and a world-class product like WeWork and offer that to Indian entrepreneurs rather than them being okay with another substandard or diluted product. And it so happened that since we did that, WeWork also exploded globally. We have started growing in India also really fast, and the brand has really picked up, and I think it was just the right decision. Even though it's a partnership and we share some of our work with them, it is truly beneficial to us, and it's the reason that we come out as leaders in this sort of category.
You seem to be very proud of the collaboration and very confident of the future with this partnership. So tell us, how important is the we in WeWork? What does it stand for?
The most important thing. The we is about our community, and if you ask me what we are differentiated with, people have tried to copy design, people have tried to mimic the technology to a certain extent, but the community and the culture or the ethos behind which we design our spaces, the way we operate it, all of that has to do with bringing people together, and bringing people together from different backgrounds and different diversities, right? So the we is probably the most important thing in the whole scheme of the brand. And if you see now, WeWork is really now just one business line of what we are trying to do across the world. Everything that we're doing is about creating community, and whether it's in the workspace or whether it's in the living space, whether it's in education or whatever it is, whether it's in sports or something like that. It's really about bringing people together. So the we part of the brand is sort of the thing that defines us as a community company and not really a co-working company. That's not what we are.
When we talk about the culture, I remember an interview which I had read, I think in the Forbes some time back, which talks about the CEO of WeWork, and they asked him what keeps him awake at night, and he said it's the culture that keeps him awake at night. So why is this culture really important, and what's unique about it?
So, we have our own internal culture, and we try to create an environment that embodies that culture to a bit, but we never try to force our culture onto other companies or to our members. We just try to create an environment that is much more open and collaborative, and allows them to then bring in their own flavor of what their culture is, and is this whole melting pot of actually different cultures in one space, right? And that's why each of our buildings actually are different, because the actual members inside them are different. If you're asking about our own internal culture at WeWork, I think that it is sort of the single it's a thing that all my employees or all our employees and everyone who works at WeWork has this certain DNA or this certain outlook of in life, thinking that you're part of a community, a part of something that's much larger than yourself, that's actually making an impact all over the world by creating just more and enriching experiences for people to come and build their passions or drive their passions. And I do a cultural interview with basically everyone that we hire, and there's certain people who would fit in well here, and it is very evident if you don't fit in well into the culture, because we're such a mission and culture driven company. So only if we embody this culture will our members start feeling it, or will it translate into the space and into the design and into how the member experiences. So it's very important.
So culture being, the DNA of WeWork, as it's something that you always wear or most of the time.
My wardrobe is only black WeWork t-shirts.
Amazing. Do what you love, it says.
Yeah.
And coming back to your point on a cultural melting pot, I see a lot of collaboration at a global level. I just want to ask you, what is the next step for WeWork in global partnerships? Can we see a next Uber, a next Ola coming together, and you all?
So we do partnerships.
Them, yes.
Yeah, we do partnerships all over the world with either local brands or global brands as well, and we use the community that we have and the member base that we have to sort of get better deals or make it sort of an attractive thing for those companies to partner with us, because our members are decision makers, they're entrepreneurs, they're people who are building businesses, who employ people, who are creating jobs in other places as well. And to like an example of Uber or whatever it is, we are working on trying to partner with companies like that to see how we can pass on a benefit either to our members, and then also at the same time it's a collaborative effort to pass on those sort of customers to Uber. And something that like we wanted to do was a partnership with Uber Pool, because that also is about bringing people and communities together, and that's really what we're about as well. If you look at globally, we have partnerships with Amazon, we have partnerships with Microsoft, we have all of these global partnerships that we pass on to our members, whether it's in like cloud services or a discount to Microsoft Office licenses or something like that. We have a lot of those global partnerships, but then we also go really local.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I go to the next question? Okay. So when you talk about partnerships, it shows a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
And we talk about long-term commitment. If I can ask you about the numbers, I believe Embassy had invested, and partnered when it comes to real estate, and you have WeWork who's providing the infrastructure and other facilities.
Yeah, so we have a very like it's like a win-win, sort of the strength of both coming together sort of partnership, where our local expertise from the embassy side in acquiring real estate and being able to maneuver through the country in actually investing into the business and also being able to actually sell in the country, whereas WeWork brought their brand, the design, the technology, and all of the processes that we've followed globally to be able to scale as fast as we are right now. And we merged together to form this entity, WeWork India. But WeWork India operates completely separate from Embassy or from WeWork Global in a way, as in we are a local company, and so we're not tied to doing deals only with Embassy. We take space with other developers, and we have taken space now in Bangalore. I can say I've actually taken a building with every single big developer that exists. And so the idea to be able to be very nimble and be able to move across the country was something that we wanted right from the start.
So you have a collaboration for 5 years?
There's no time frame on it. It's actually just as we keep building this business, and we just want to make it the biggest business that we possibly can, and expand to as many areas as we can.
So you have 10,000 seats in different metros and
Right now we have
cities?
10,000. The aim is to hopefully double that by the end of this year or more. And we just want to keep continuing to grow. We really think we've not even scraped or even touched the surface of what the market is. And the market it's huge.
So what are your plans on upscaling the business? Do you have specific cities that you're looking at? And
So for this year, we're really
How does it
focused
grow?
on
Yeah.
Bangalore, Mumbai, and the NCR region. Towards the beginning of next year, and probably next year, we will venture to other cities like Pune, Hyderabad, and Chennai as well. The plan is, if you look at some of our other mature markets like New York or London, we have now in New York about 50 locations. We're the second largest occupier of space in Manhattan. In London, we actually have, I think it's over 30 locations now, and we are the largest tenant actually in London. And those two cities have, a population of whatever 15 million at the most, right? We have cities in India which is like Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi, which are almost 20 million people in population. And so we see the scope of being able to actually expand to that many locations in each of the city. It's definitely possible. The idea is really to just keep going deeper, because the more buildings we open, actually the more useful it gets for the community, more useful it is for people who want to be flexible, so that when they're traveling around the city, they actually have offices all over the city. And it doesn't make sense for us to go like open one in each city. We'd rather open 10 in each city and then go to the next city.
so when it comes to profitability, if you can gauge and let us know, compared to all the cities and areas that you have currently set up shop, which has been the most profitable, which has been break even, and where has it been a financial burden?
So Touchwood, all of the buildings, we basically opened our first building 8 months ago. So no building is older than 8 months. And now all our buildings as of this month are completely full. We're at over 95% in literally every single building. I wouldn't say any of them. So Bangalore has been our strongest market just because it's easier for us to sell and to get the brand out. Mumbai has also been amazing. We opened our second building in Mumbai like 80% full from day one. And so it was initially a challenge. I think the first two buildings were the biggest challenge, because you're still bringing the brand out in the market. It's not something completely new, so you're still educating people about the value and trying to stop them from comparing it from like a per square foot rent to a much more like wholesome and holistic solution for your workspace and for your employees. So I think that was the most challenging part. But rents in Mumbai are possibly the highest than anywhere else in the country, so that's always a little more expensive to build there or to operate there. But also the price is something that we are able to get in Mumbai. Other than that, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, and finally, competitive pricing, a unique work culture, a lot of happiness, high energy levels, positive energy is something WeWork has, is always known for, and I think that's what you would like to really take forward.
Yes.
So that itself, I believe, is a big differentiator for anyone who wants to opt for a co-working space.
Yeah.
What else is WeWork going to provide
What else?
its members?
We're doing a lot of things. So we started off actually focused very much on creative companies, smaller companies. That's where like the brand originated from. But over the years, what we've seen is actually startups always want to be like a large company, and a large company wants to always end up becoming nimble and have the culture of a startup, right?
True.
And so there was never before the opportunity for both of them to actually be in the same environment to feed off those two things. We have now been able to actually provide that even and provide a solution even for larger companies. So a combination and a good mix of like an ecosystem that exists that has startups, smaller medium businesses, and also now like Fortune 500 companies. We are focusing on trying to build a product for them as well, because they are finding, like large companies are finding it very hard to attract and retain this young workforce and create a culture in their organization. And they've realized that we know how to do that because we do that day in and day out. And so they're coming to us and saying, look, we want to either partner with you or have you come and operate our space, or move like our sales teams or marketing teams into your space, so that they're just getting more creative and all of that. So look at, you'll see that there's going to be an increase in lots of large companies actually looking at shared workspaces rather than traditional office environment. We have co-living that is something that we're working on globally, and we would love to bring that into India as well. We have a education initiative called WeGrow that is a very alternative sort of method of educating kids and children by identifying their interests early on or their skill sets early on and focusing on those rather than like feeding them information and topics of stuff that they probably will never use or are uninterested in, and probably makes the educational experience not so enjoyable than it can be, where if you were looking at a kid who was extremely good at math or numbers and really focus all his development around that, so that when he actually is coming out in the world, that there's a specialized skill set that he would have that would differentiate him from everyone else, or allow him to build or create a company or something that he's passionate about, that is something that it's around something that interests him or her.
Lovely.
So we hope that happens soon too.
Lovely. Doing what you love is something that WeWork endorses and promotes through all its offices, not just in India but around the world. We're here with Karan Virwani, the face and the leader behind this beautiful entity, something which most budding entrepreneurs and startups want to be a part of. Thank you, Karan, for your time today. We wish you all the best, and we can see that passion and energy not just in your entity but in you as well. Congratulations, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.